key and topical issues confronting our country, confronting the world, and indeed sometimes confronting individuals. The essence of the lecture is basically to provide a template for us to engage on core issues that are of academic importance, but also of practical and practical importance, and that is necessary for our time. This year's lecture, indeed, I have to say that in the past, there was on break. There was some interregnum because of the COVID situation that we had. And this year, the lecture is back with a bang, I would say. And the reason for that is that we have highlighting or speaking on this issue a very important son of our country, who's been one of Ghana's best exports. And he knows very little introduction to anybody of any religious faith because of his great ambassadorial role that he's played for us in the Vatican. Cardinal Apia Texton has done very well for our country in terms of representing especially those of the Catholic faith or the Christian faith, and indeed generally for everyone of any religious calling. And as you indicated, he's speaking on the tragic of the commons. The topic itself suggests an important aspect of democracy. I think few will disagree with the fact that the Fourth Republic, Ghana in particular, hasn't generally delivered in accordance with the expectations, the heightened expectations of those who welcomed it in 1992, and certainly 30 years on in our country. And while I would not, as it were, predict or try to second guess the speaker, because his paper is still very much close to his chest, and indeed the topic is his topic. While I will not predict what he's going to speak on, I can assure you that the democracy we have in Ghana today represents in some ways a tragedy suffered by the commons. And the commons in this sense are the regular people. The opening paragraphs of our constitution speaks of we the people, which is in the preamble. And that indicates the fact that the democracy we have is supposed to be a government that springs from the people. Indeed, the constitution mentions sovereignty residing in the people. But the reality is that democracy represents a fiction, and everyone knows this. And the reason it is a fiction is because, in reality, the people do not meet anywhere to make a decision. The people have to make decisions through representatives. And that is why we elect members of parliament, we elect the president, and we elect all kinds of people to represent us and make decisions. But it has happened, and very often it is the case, that there has been a dissonance between the people who elected people into offices and the outcome of decisions that may have been taken on their behalf. And so the question is whether governments and representative governments actually do represent the people. So who are the people? And who are these commons? Who are supposed to be the people on whose behalf decisions are taken? And whether or not indeed leadership in our times has represented the common person. What is the character of leadership we speak on? What are the values of leadership? And to what extent can we say that the governance of our country has, as it were, effectuated or implemented the interests of the commons? So the tragic of the commons, as I indicated, the speaker, I'm sure, is going to go way beyond the boundaries of what I'm speaking on. But the tragic of the commons, in some ways, is supposed to reflect that.
So how can we be part of this, lecture? Is it open to everybody?
It's a public lecture. It is open to everybody. It is going to be physically on the UPSA campus. It is going to be carried live on My Joy News and the social media handles of Joy FM, and therefore we are grateful for our partnership with Multimedia. But it is open to the public physically, and so the public is
okay. And so it's on Wednesday at what time?
It's on Wednesday at 9 a.m. in the morning.
9 a.m. Is it at the UPSA auditorium?
It is.
Okay. Well, thank you very, very much, Professor Kofi Abotsi, for joining us. So Wednesday, 9 a.m. prompt at the UPSA auditorium. It's the tragic of the common leadership for the common good by His Eminence Cardinal Peter Kojo Appiah Texton, and it's open to all of us. We're grateful you made time to join us this morning.
Thank you, Winston. Thank you. Have a good day.
Right, so that's Professor Kofi Abotsi, who is Dean of the UPSA Faculty of Law, telling us more about the UPSA Annual Leadership Lecture 2022. The topic is the tragic of the common, Leadership for the Common Good by His Eminence Cardinal Peter Kojo Appiah.